Now, more and more boilers out there have plastic hydroblocks, and that means if you have a water meter or a non-return valve in your cold water supply, you're going to require one of these. So, what are they? Well, these are mini shock arrestors, and the two we've got here are produced by Trappex. So, let's get them unboxed and have a look at them and see what the difference is between the two. Now, I'm also going to be doing a little experiment with these at the end of this video, so let's get on with it. Now, let's have a look at this centra shock by Trappex first, because this is the more traditional one you'll see out there. So basically what it is a little stainless steel vessel. Now, 100% of these are checked in the factory to make sure they work before they come out to you. Now, this holds 0.16 litres in here, and its maximum operating temperature is 90 degrees C. Now, inside here is a butyl rubber diaphragm, which is fixed at both ends so it doesn't come in contact with the vessel. The maximum working pressure of this is 10 bar, and it comes pre-charged at 3.5 bar. Now, this is also RAS approved, so you can use it on potable drinking water. Now, it's MIG welded, so any parts on here are all MIG welded, and this little thread here at the bottom, which is a brass thread, is 1/2 inch BSP. Now, it's also, as well as being 1/2 inch BSP, it is the same as a compression fitting. Now, it doesn't come with a compression nut or olive, but I've got one here in my pocket. So we all seem to have nuts and olives lying around. So it's designed so the pipe can just slide in there, and your nut and olive goes on there, so it looks neater and you don't have a male iron to copper connector on there. Now, you can buy these, I believe, from McDonald's Plumbing Supplies for £19.13 plus the dreaded, which isn't that much really, is it? 20 quid for an expansion vessel. So that is the centra shock vessel. Now let's have a look at this other one that Trappex have sent me in this box. So first of all, you can see it's slightly different to the standard one. Now, this is a fully mechanical shock arrestor, so there's no need to do any maintenance on this whatsoever, and it's a proper hefty beast. And it's made of brass. Now, inside here is a polymer piston, and again, this is suitable for potable water, but this one hasn't been RAS approved for some reason. Now, as well as being suitable for potable water, hot and cold, this is also suitable for refrigeration circuits. So you can see it is a compact design, and as well as having this piston in here, there is also a steel spring. Now again, the maximum operating temperature of this one is 90 degrees C, and it also comes pre-charged, but this time 3 bar. And again, you can buy these at McDonald's Plumbing Supplies for the £18.89. So that is the mechanical shock arrestor. It's maintenance free. This one will require maintenance every year. It'll need checking, it'll need topping up, because they all need doing that. But this one, you put it on and you forget about it. And again, this one has the same thread on the bottom. Again, it's 1/2 inch BSP, and again, you can put a nut and olive on there, so you don't have to have a bulky male iron to copper connector on there. It just looks a lot neater. So this really is a no-brainer for me. I'd fit them all day long, because again, it's just going to be over 20 quid rather than these, which people don't really know how to set them up properly. Now, not long ago, I did a video all about shock arrestors and how to install them and how to set them up. So let's refresh your memory on that one. So let's get on with it. Now what we have here is a combination boiler. So we've got the cold mains coming into the plate, coming out of the plate and to the hot tap. Now installed on our cold water mains is the water meter and a single check valve. So the water is coming in to the plate and then gets heated by the boiler heat exchanger, which then comes out through the hot tap. Now, this can cause problems if, one, this tap here is a lever valve, you know, a quarter turn tap. So if somebody slams that valve quickly, what can happen is it can send shock waves back through the boiler and then down through the pipe. Now, because of the single check valve, and the reason why we've got a single check valve in there is because under the water regs we can't have fluid category 1 water mixing with fluid category 2. So if we have the water expanding back up the cold mains, we don't want to get back into the drinking water. So that's why we have a single check valve, not a double one. So that's a big problem if the boiler's components inside are made of plastic. Well, they don't really like it being called plastic, do they? They like to call it composite. So we get different pressures and we get different temperatures due to this valve closing. So what happens is, when that valve closes, because the momentum of the water is going this way and you close it quickly, it sends the shock back, but it actually creates a vacuum. So the plastic inside here is expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. So when it finds a weak point, it'll crack. And I think a lot of us know about the problems Worcester have on the left-hand side hydroblock, where it always gets a pinhole and starts leaking. And they say that's mainly because there isn't any way of getting rid of the extra heat or the pressure. Because we can create a lot of heat in that plate to plate with things like preheat systems. So if we preheat the plate so we don't get this big lag of cold water coming through, that can create its own pressures and own problems. So the way the manufacturers say this, and technically you only need to fit these if it's a plastic hydroblock, but if you do have things like water hammer, because this can create water hammer as well, because of the flow of the water going backwards and forwards, it can create a vibration. So if your pipes are not clipped properly, you'll get a vibration coming through there. Also, if you've got things like flexible hoses on copper pipe going to toilets and wash basins and kitchen sinks, then again you're going to get the copper pipe vibrating. So you can either fix the pipework to stop that water hammer, but if you've got a combi boiler with composite components, then we might need to fit the little shock arrestor. So where do we fit it? Well, we're fitting it here, as close as we can to the boiler. So we need to put a T in, and then put our mini expansion vessel or mini shock arrestor in there. So on this side here we have air, and obviously on this side here we've got water. Now we can't compress the water, but we can compress the air. So if we do get any heat coming back down this way, so we get hot water coming back down here, that will then expand up, the diaphragm will move, and this mini shock arrestor expansion vessel will take up the expansion of the water through heat. Because water will expand by 4% of its volume from 4 degrees C up to 100 degrees C. So that's one of the things it does. The other thing is as well, because of the actual shock, the thermal shock, it can make the diaphragm work as well. So it's kind of doing two jobs. It's taking up the expansion of the hot water and also take up the expansion of the thermal shock due to the single check valve. Now, technically, you might see that if this pipe is longer than 3 meters, that might be enough pipe to be able to take up this expansion or thermal shock. But most boiler manufacturers say we need the mini shock arrestor if we've got this composite. Also, if this on this end here is a mixer shower, the mixer shower will need non-return valves to stop the vacuum as well. Because it's not just the pressure, it's also the vacuum what's created by opening and closing the valve quickly because of the flow, the velocity of the water. So you could get big variations inside this boiler, which is making these composite components break. Now, a couple of things about the shock arrestor is this one is pre-charged at 2 bar. Now, between 1 and 2 bar is average for these shock arrestors, and also it says on here it's got a butyl membrane. Now, the reason for the butyl membrane is it has to be able to be acceptable for drinking water, because this is fluid category 1 coming in here and fluid category 2 coming out here. So it needs to have the right membrane in there. And that's another reason why they have to be made out of stainless steel. So they don't create corrosion, so you've not got any corrosion in the pipework because it's drinking water. So no steel, they have to be stainless steel. So that's basically what these little things are for. And if you see them on boilers, that's what they're there for. Now, they're dead easy to check as well. So you just undo the cap. It's just a dust cap. And this has got like your bike tyre has in your car tyre. It's got a Schrader valve in there. So you can put on a pump and check the pressure. But obviously, if this says it's pre-charged to 2 bar, you can't have any pressure within the system to be able to check that properly. So you would have to get rid of all the pressure, then check it. Because if you've got any pressure on there, which is typically could be 1.5 bar in there, could go up to 30 bar, depending on where you are. Now, if you did that, then you would be putting a pressure reducing valve in there. But that's the average between 1.5 and 2 bar pressure you've got flying through your pipes. So that's how these mini expansion vessel shock arrestors work and how we install them. So let's get into the kitchen and have a look at my little experiment I've got set up. Now, this is what I've got set up. So this is our cold main coming into the combi boiler. What I've done here is put a filling loop double check valve. So there's actually a double check valve here. We've got a pressure gauge showing us our standing pressure at the moment for the water, which is just over 3.5 bar. And I put an isolation valve here to isolate the shock arrestor. Now, we haven't got, as you can see here, massive amounts of pressure. So we might not see this go all the way around. We're not going to see that go all the way around because our pressure is so low. Now, the heating has been on for all morning really, and it's set to a flow temperature of 55 degrees. Now, let's see what happens when I turn the tap on with the mechanical shock arrestor isolated from the supply. Now, I'm going to open the tap as fast as I can and let's see what happens. It's like it's going everywhere. Our working pressure is just under a bar. So I'm going to let it get warm. Now I've got the hot water flow temperature at 60 degrees. So let's see when I close this lever valve, and I'm going to close it really quickly and see what happens. So you could see there was a jerk in the needle and it went back up to where it was before, just over 3.5 bar. Now let's bring the shock arrestor into play and do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to turn the tap on quickly and then close it quickly. Now, one of the things you should have noticed is it was smooth going back up when I closed the tap quickly rather than it jerking. So there was no jerking of the water main, so there would be no water hammer this time. Now, it's not a fantastic demonstration because we have got very low water pressure. But if we had incredibly high water pressure, then you would probably see the needle go massively round. So I hope that little experiment helps. Now I know that wasn't an absolutely fantastic demonstration, but it's the best I could do because our water pressure is very poor here during the day. Now one of the things I have noticed is when we've come in the morning at night time, the pressure has gone over 5 bar during the night, and then it averages out between 3.5 and 4 bar during the day. So it has helped with the expansion vessel because when I've left it turned on and I've come back in, it hasn't risen to that 5 bar, it stayed round the 4 bar. So yes, we do need them, but technically we don't need them in every application. But if the manufacturer says you've got to fit them, you've got to fit them. And then why not fit the mechanical one? Because once you've fitted it, you don't have to do anything else with it whatsoever. Anyway, hopefully you've liked the video. Hopefully you've liked the rubbish demonstration. And I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.